Hello, students. Welcome back. We have come to a gathering of shades. Mrs. Jackson said that Odysseus is about to go to the underworld, okay? This isn't like a hell. This is more like everyone goes there, okay? It's not for good or for bad. It's for everybody. Very rarely does somebody not have to go to the underworld. Hercules would be an example, but very rare. And so in the underworld, Odysseus, you could get there by sea. I mean, there's this place you go. You can go to the underworld. Most people who go there don't get to come back, but Odysseus will get to come out, obviously, for the story to continue. And why is he going? Why is he going there? Well, he's been told by Circe, hey, you have to go to the underworld. And you have to talk to this dude named Tiresias. Now, Tiresias, he is quite the character in Greek mythology. When you are a sophomore and you read Oedipus Rex and you read Antigone, Tiresias is going to come up again and again. He is a prophet. That's what you need to know about him. He's a prophet, meaning he understands the future. He's also blind, meaning he can't see physically, which there's some irony there that he can't see physically, but he can see, I guess, in time into the future, which is kind of cool. So Odysseus is going there to learn about how to get home. He's learning, and he's also going to learn about his future. But while he's there, Homer's like, oh, he's not just going to see him. I got to make this dramatic, okay? You have to imagine you are a Greek, okay, hearing this story, and you get to learn about what happens after you die. That's a big deal, folks. Okay, think about how much literature is written about what happens after you die. So even though this seems very dry to you, perhaps, for the Greeks, Odysseus is going to run into all of these famous heroes, all of these famous people. He's going to run into his mom. He's going to run into a shipmate who has just died. He's going to run into, you guessed it, Agamemnon himself. Okay, remember the parallel plot between Agamemnon when he gets home and Odysseus on his way home. He's going to hear from Agamemnon. Folks, this is going to be a huge moment for Odysseus to hear what has happened to Agamemnon. Odysseus is going to be shocked, and now think about when he hears what happened to Agamemnon, how might that affect him when he's on his way home? How is he going to address coming home? And maybe do that in a different way from Agamemnon. He's also going to see Achilles. He's also going to see Ajax. And Ajax was a Greek warrior that he and Odysseus had a major dispute over who got some armor from Achilles. And Ajax ended up killing himself over it, and Ajax is going to turn the cold shoulder. You'll see that as well. He's going to meet a lot of other people. Some of their names are really hard to pronounce, so I'm going to just butcher them, and that's okay. Okay, just do your best. And that's what we have to do, okay? We don't speak Greek, most of us. Most of us haven't studied ancient Greek. I studied a little Koine Greek, but not ancient Greek. So this is hard for me, so just bear with me. And we're going to see this amazing moment in the life of Odysseus. He's now going to come into the underworld. When thinking about Odysseus' character development, this is the major turning point. He's been a little too curious. He's been a little foolish. He's been a little proud. Some major hubris with the Cyclops. Maybe a little arrogant here and there, even with the witch. And maybe not so loyal and sleeping with the witch for an extra year. Whoops, that wasn't smart. But now he's going to literally see what happens after death. And wouldn't that change anybody? And so you're going to see after this visit to the underworld, Odysseus is a different man. Okay? So let us see what happens in A Gathering of Shades, Book 11. We bore down on the ship at the sea's edge and launched her on the salt immortal sea, stepping our mast and spar in the black ship. Embarked the ram and you, and went aboard in tears with bitter and sore dread upon us. But now a breeze came up for us astern, a canvas-bellying land breeze, hail shipmate sent by the singing nymph with sun-bright hair. So we made fast to the braces, took our thwarts, and let the wind and steersmen work the ship with full sail spread all day above our coursing till the sun dipped, and all the ways grew dark upon the fathomless, unresting sea. By night, our ship ran onward toward the ocean's bourne, the realm and region of the men of winter, hidden in mist and cloud. Never the flaming eye of Helios' lights on those men at morning, when he climbs the sky of stars, nor in descending earthward out of heaven, ruinous night being rove over those wretches. We made the land, put Ram and you ashore, and took our way along the ocean stream to find the place foretold to us by Circe. There, Paramedes and Eurylochus pinioned the sacred beasts. With my drawn blade, I spaded up the votive pit and poured libations round it to the unnumbered dead, sweet milk and honey, then sweet wine, and last clear water, and I scattered barley down. Major sacrifice, guys. Then I addressed the blurred and breathless dead, vowing to slaughter my best heifer for them before she calved at home in Ithaca, and burn the choice bits on the altar fire. As for Tiresias, I swore to sacrifice a black lamb, handsomest of all our flock. Thus, to assuage the nations of the dead, I pledged these rites, then slashed the lamb and ewe, letting their black blood stream into the well pit. Now the souls gathered, stirring out of Eurybus, brides and young men, and men grown old in pain, and tender girls whose hearts were new to grief. Many were there, too, torn by brazen lance heads, battle slain, bearing still their bloody gear. From every side they came and sought the pit with rustling cries, and I grew sick with fear. But presently I gave command to my officers to flay those sheep and bronze cut down, and make burnt offerings of flesh to the gods below, to sovereign Death, to pale Persephone. Meanwhile I crouched with my drawn sword to keep the surging phantoms from the bloody pit, till I should know the presence of Tiresias. So all these ghosts, okay, all these spirits of the dead are coming to try to drink the blood, because if you drink the blood, then you can kind of have some life for a little bit, even if you're in the underworld. That's why he's killed this ewe, which is a female sheep, and the lamb. But he's waiting for Tiresias, for his spirit to come. One shade, okay, a shade is like a soul, came first, Elpenor, of our company, who lay unburied still on the wide earth as we had left him, dead in Circe's hall, untouched, unmourned, when other cares compelled us. Now when I saw him there, I wept for pity and called out to him. So Elpenor is one of his men who had died at Circe's home, and they don't even know it. And he's kind of surprised to see Elpenor, and here they're going, this is the first spirit or soul he's going to talk to in the underworld. How is this, Elpenor? How could you journey to the western gloom swifter afoot than I in the black lugger? He sighed and answered, Son of great Laertes, Odysseus, master mariner and soldier, bad luck shadowed me, and no kindly power. Ignoble death I drank with so much wine. I slept on Circe's roof, then could not see the long steep backward ladder coming down, and fell that height. My neck bone buckled under, snapped, and my spirit found this well of dark. Now hear the grace I pray for, in the name of those back in the world. Not here, your wife and father, he who gave you bread in childhood, and your own child, your own son, Telemachus, long ago left at home. When you make sail, and put these lodgings of dim death behind, you will moor ship, I know, upon Aea Island. There, O my lord, remember me, I pray. Do not abandon me unwept, unburied, to tempt the gods' wrath while you sail for home. But fire my corpse, and all the gear I had, and build a cairn for me above the breakers, an unknown sailor's mark for men to come. Heap up the mound there, and implant upon it the oar I pulled in life with my companions. Elpenor says, would you bury my body on your way home? That's basically what he said. He ceased, and I replied, Unhappy spirit, I promise you the barrow and the burial. So we conversed, and grimly at a distance, with my long sword between, guarding the blood, while the faint image of the lad spoke on. Now came the soul of Anticlea. Guess who Anticlea is? It's Odysseus' mom. He's about to meet his mom in the underworld, and he didn't know she had died. Imagine the drama, guys. Dead. My mother, daughter of Autolycus. Dead now, though living still when I took ship for holy Troy. Seeing this ghost, I grieved, but held her off, through pang on pang of tears, till I should know the presence of Tiresias. Soon, from the dark, that prince of Thebes came forward, bearing a golden staff, and he addressed me. So before he talks to his mom, he's going to talk to Tiresias to find out his prophecy. Here he is. Here's Tiresias speaking. Son of Laertes and the gods of old, Odysseus, master of landways and seaways, why leave the blazing sun, O man of woe, to see the cold dead and the joyless region? Stand clear. Put up your sword. Let me but taste of blood. I shall speak true. At this I stepped aside, and in the scabbard let my long sword ring home to the pommel silver, as he bent down to the somber blood. Then spoke the prince of those with gift of speech. Great captain, a fair wind and the honey lights of home are all you seek, but anguish lies ahead. The God who thunders on the land prepares it, not to be shaken from your track, implacable in rancor for the son whose eye you blinded. One narrow strait may take you through his blows, denial of yourself, restraint of shipmates. When you make landfall on Thrinacia, first and quit the violet sea, dark on the land you'll find the grazing herds of Helios, by whom all things are seen, all speech is known. Avoid those kine are cattle. Hold fast to your intent, and hard seafaring brings you all to Ithaca. But if you raid the beeves are cattle, I see destruction for ship and crew. Though you survive alone, bereft of all companions, lost for years, under strange sail shall you come home to find your own house filled with trouble, insolent men eating your livestock as they court your lady. Aye, you shall make those men atone in blood, that after you have dealt out death, in open combat or by stealth, to all the suitors, go overland on foot and take an oar, until one day you come where men have lived with meat unsalted, never known the sea, or seen sea-going ships with crimson bows and oars that fledge light hulls for dipping flight. The spot will soon be plain to you, and I can tell you how. Some passer-by will say, What winnowing fan is that upon your shoulder? Halt, and implant your smooth oar in the turf, and make fair sacrifice to Lord Poseidon, a ram, a bull, a great buck boar. Turn back, and carry out pure hecatombs at home to all wide heaven's lords, the undying gods, to each in order. Then a sea-born death, soft as this hand of mist, will come upon you, when you are wearied out with rich old age, your country folk in blessed peace around you, and this shall be just as I foretell. When he had done, I said at once, Tiresias, my life runs on then, as the gods have spun it. But come, now, tell me this. Make this thing clear. I see my mother's ghost among the dead, sitting in silence near the blood. Not once has she glanced this way toward her son, nor spoken. Tell me, my lord, may she in some way come to know my presence? To this he answered, I shall make it clear in a few words and simply. Any dead man whom you allow to enter where the blood is will speak to you and speak the truth. But those deprived will grow remote again and fade. When he had prophesied, Tiresias' shade retired lordly to the halls of death. But I stood fast until my mother stirred, moving to sip the black blood. Then she knew me and called out sorrowfully to me, Child, how could you cross alive into this gloom at the world's end? No sight for living eyes, great currents run between desolate waters, the ocean first, where no man goes a journey without ship's timber under him. Say now, is it from Troy still wandering after years that you come here with ship and company? Have you not gone at all to Ithaca? Have you not seen your lady in your hall? She put these questions, and I answered her, Mother, I came here, driven to the land of death in want of prophecy from Tiresias' shade. Nor have I yet coasted Achaea's hills, nor touched my own land, but have had hard roving since first I joined Lord Agamemnon's host by sea for Ilion, the wild horse country, to fight the men of Troy. But come now, tell me this, and tell me clearly, what was the bane that pinned you down to death? Some ravaging long illness, or mild arrows a-flying down one day from Artemis? Tell me of father, tell me of the son I left behind me. Have they still my place, my honors, or have other men assumed them? Do they not say that I shall come no more? And tell me of my wife, how runs her thought, still with her child, still keeping our domains, or bright again to the best of the Achaeans? In other words, is my wife married? Is she remarried, or is she waiting on me? To this my noble mother quickly answered, Still with her child indeed she is, poor heart, still in your palace hall. Forlorn her nights and days go by, her life used up in weeping. But no man takes your honored place. Telemachus has care of all your garden plots and fields, and holds the public honor of a magistrate feasting and being feasted. But your father is country-bound and comes to town no more. He owns no bedding, rugs, or fleecy mantles, but lies down winter nights among the slaves rolled in old cloaks for cover near the embers. Or when the heat comes at the end of summer, the fallen leaves, all round his vineyard plot, heaped into windrows, makes his lowly bed. He lies now even so, with aching heart, and longs for your return, while age comes on him. So I, too, pined away. So doom befell me. Not that the keen-eyed huntress with her shafts had marked me down and shot to kill me. Not that illness overtook me. No true illness, wasting the body to undo the spirit. Only my loneliness for you, Odysseus, for your kind-hearted counsel, gentle Odysseus, took my own life away. She's saying she died of loneliness, of a broken heart. Now, some people interpret that as her killing herself, which is possible, or perhaps she just died of a broken heart, longing and pining away for her son Odysseus, so long gone in Troy. I bit my lip, rising, perplexed with longing to embrace her, and tried 3 times, putting my arms around her, but she went sifting through my hands, impalpable as shadows are, and wavering like a dream. Now this embittered all the pain I bore, and I cried in the darkness, "Oh, my mother! Will you not stay? Be still here in my arms. May we not, in this place of death as well, hold one another, touch with love, and taste salt tears' relief, the twinge of welling tears? Or is this all hallucination, sent again to me by the Iron Queen Persephone to make me groan again?" My noble mother answered quickly, "Oh, my child, alas, most sorely tried of men, great Zeus's daughter Persephone knits no illusion for you. All mortals meet this judgment when they die. No flesh and bone are here, none bound by sinew, since the bright-hearted pyre consumed them down, the white bones long exanime, to ash, dream-like the soul flies, insubstantial. You must crave sunlight soon, note all things strange here seen here, to tell your lady in after days." So went our talk. Then other shadows came, ladies in company, sent by Persephone, consorts or daughters of illustrious men, crowding about the black blood. I took thought how best to separate and question them, and saw no help for it, but drew once more the long bright edge of broadsword from my hip, that none should sip the blood in company, but one by one, in order. So it fell that each declared her lineage and name. Here was great loveliness of ghosts. I saw before them all that princess of great ladies, Tyro, Salmoneus' daughter, as she told me, and queen to Cretheus, a son of Aeolus. She had gone daft for the river Enipeus, most graceful of all running streams, and ranged all day by Enipeus' limpid side, whose form the foaming girdler of the islands, the god who makes the earth tremble, took and so lay down with her, where he went flooding seaward, their bower a purple billow, arcing round to hide them in a sea veil, god and lady. Now when his pleasure was complete, the god spoke to her softly, holding fast her hand. "Dear mortal, go in joy. As the turn of seasons, winter to summer, you shall bear me sons. No love-making of gods can be in vain. Nurse our sweet children tenderly, and rear them. Home with you now, and hold your tongue, and tell no one your lover's name, though I am yours, Poseidon, lord of surf that makes earth tremble." He plunged away into the deep sea swell, and she grew big with Peleus and Neleus, powerful vassals in their time of Zeus. Peleus lived on broad Iolcus, seaboard rich in flocks, and Neleus at Pylos. As for the sons born by that queen of women to Cretheus, their names were Jason, Pharis, and Amithaon, expert charioteer. Next after her I saw Antiope, daughter of Aesopus. She too could boast a god for lover, having lain with Zeus and borne 2 sons to him, Amphion and Zethos, who founded Thebes and the upper city, and built the ancient citadel. They sheltered no life upon that plain, for all their power without a fortress wall. And next I saw Amphitryon's true wife, Alcmene, mother, as all men know, of lioness Hercules, conceived when she lay close in Zeus's arms, and Megare, high-hearted Creon's daughter, wife of Amphitryon's unwearying son. I saw the mother of Oedipus, Jocasta, whose great unwitting deed it was to marry her own son. You'll find out about that in sophomore English, guys. He took that prize from a slain father. Presently the gods brought all to light that made the famous story. But by their fearsome wills he kept his throne in dearest Thebes, all through his evil days, while she descended to the place of death, god of the locked and iron door. Steeped down from a high rafter, throttled in her noose, she swung, carried away by pain, and left him endless agony from a mother's furies. And I saw Chloris, that most lovely lady, whom for her beauty in the olden time Neleus wooed with countless gifts and married. She was the youngest daughter of Amphion, son of Iasus. In those days he held power at Orchomenos over the Minyae. At Pyalos, then, as queen, she bore her children, Nestor, Chromios, Periclymenos, and Pero, too, who turned the heads of men with her magnificence. A host of princes from nearby lands came courting her. But Neleus would hear of no one, not unless the suitor could drive the steers of giant Iphiclos from Phylake, long horns broad in the brow, so fierce that one man only, a diviner, offered to round them up. But bitter fate saw him bound hand and foot by savage herdsmen. Then days and months grew full and waned. The year went wheeling round. The seasons came again, before at last the power of Iphiclos, relenting, freed the prisoner, who foretold all things to him. So Zeus's will was done. You're probably not going to understand a lot of these references and allusions. That's okay. Follow along. You'll be all right. We'll get back to some important characters for our story in a moment. Remember, as a Greek, these would all be characters that they've heard of before, and they're getting to see them and experience them in the underworld. This would be really cool for them. And I saw Leda, wife of Tyndareus, upon whom Tyndareus had hired twins indomitable, Castor, tamer of horses, and Polydeucus, best in the boxing ring. Those two live still, though life-creating earth embraces them. Even in the underworld, honored as gods by Zeus, each day in turn one comes alive, the other dies again. Then after Leda to my vision came the wife of Aeolus, Iphimedia, proud that she once had held the flowing sea and borne him sons, thunderers for a day, the world-renowned Odyssey and Ephialtes. Never were men on such a scale, bred on the plowlands and the grainlands, never so magnificent any after Orion. At 9 years old they towered 9 fathoms tall, like cubits in the shoulders, and they promised furor upon Olympus, heaven broken by battle cries, the day they met the gods in arms. With Osa's mountain peak they meant to own Olympus, and over Ossa Pelion's forest pile for footholds upon the sky. As giants grown, they might have done it, but the bright son of Zeus by Leto of the smooth braid shot them down while they were boys unbearded. No dark curls clustered yet from temples to the chin. Then I saw Phaedra, Procris, and Ariadne, daughter of Minos, the grim king. Theseus took her aboard with him from Crete for the terraced land of ancient Athens, but he had no joy of her. Artemis killed her on the isle of Dia at a word from Dionysus. Myra, then, and Clymene, and the detested queen Eriphyle, who betrayed her lord for gold. But how name all the women I beheld there, daughters and wives of kings? The starry night wanes long before I close. Here, or a broad ship amid the crew, the hour for sleep has come. Our sailing is the gods' affair, and yours. Here Odysseus is going to break from his story. Suddenly we're back in the hall of Alcinous and Arete, right? So he's breaking the story, and here's the response. Then he fell silent. Down the shadowy hall the enchanted banqueters were still. Only the queen with ivory pale arms, Arete, spoke, saying to all the silent men, Phaeacians, how does he stand now in your eyes, this captain, the look and bulk of him, the inward poise? He is my guest, but each one shares that honor. Be in no haste to send him on his way, or scant your bounty in his need. Remember how rich by heaven's will your possessions are. Then Echenios, the old soldier, eldest of all Phaeacians, added his word. Friends, here was nothing but our own thoughts spoken. The mark hit square. Our duties to her majesty. For what is to be said and done, we wait upon Alcinous's command. At this the king's voice rang. I so command, as sure as it is I who, while I live, rule the sea rovers of Phaeacia. Our friend longs to put out for home. but let him be content to rest here one more day until I see all gifts bestowed, and every man will take thought for his launching and his voyage, I most of all, for I am master here." Odysseus, the great tactician, answered, "Alcinous, king in admiration of men, even a year's delay, if you should urge it, in loading gifts and furnishings for sea, I could wish it better far that I return with some largesse of wealth about me. I shall be thought more worthy of love and courtesy by every man who greets me home in Ithaca." The king said, "As to that, one word, Odysseus, from all we see, we take you for no swindler, though the dark earth be patient of so many scattered everywhere, bedding their traps with lies of old times into places no one knows. You speak with art, but your intent is honest. The Argive troubles and your own troubles you told as a poet would, a man who knows the world. But now, come, tell me this, among the dead, did you meet any of your peers, companions, who sailed with you and met their doom at Troy? Here's a long night, an endless night before us, and no time yet for sleep, not in this hall. Recall the past deeds and the strange adventures. I could stay up until the sacred dawn, as long as you might wish to tell your story." The great Odysseus, the tactician, answered, "Alcinous." He's going to begin his story here, so now we're back in the underworld. "Alcinous, king in admiration of men, there is a time for storytelling. There is also a time for sleep. But even so, if, indeed, listening be still your pleasure, I must not grudge my part. Other and sadder tales there are to tell, of my companions, of some who came through all the Trojan spears, clangor and groan of war, only to find a brutal death at home and a bad wife behind it. After Persephone, icy and pale, dispersed the shades of women, the soul of Agamemnon, son of Atreus, came before me, somber in the gloom, and others gathered round, all who were with him when death and doom struck in Aegisthus' hall. Sipping the black blood, the tall shade perceived me, and cried out sharply, breaking into tears, then tried to stretch his hands toward me, but could not, being bereft of all the reach and power he once felt in the great torque of his arms. Gazing at him and stirred, I wept for pity, and spoke across to him." Odysseus has just met Agamemnon. He's the son of Atreus, and here is their conversation. "O son of Atreus, illustrious Lord Marshal, Agamemnon, what was the doom that brought you low in death? Were you at sea aboard ship and Poseidon blew up a wicked squall to send you under? Or were you cattle raiding on the mainland, or in a fight for some strong point, or women, when the foe hit you for your mortal hurt?" But he replied at once, "Son of Laertes, Odysseus, master of landways and seaways, neither did I go down with some good ship in any gale Poseidon blew, nor die upon the mainland, hurt by foes in battle. It was Aegisthus who designed my death, he and my heartless wife, and killed me, after feeding me like an ox felled at the trough. That was my miserable end, and with me my fellows butchered, like so many swine killed for some troop or feast or wedding banquet in a great landholder's household. In your day you have seen men in hundreds die in war, in the bloody press, or downed in single combat. But these were murderers you would catch your breath at. Think of us fallen, all our throats cut, wine bowl brimming, tables laden on every side, while blood ran smoking over the whole floor. In my extremity I heard Cassandra, Priam's daughter, piteously crying, as the traitress Clytemnestra made to kill her along with me. I heaved up from the ground and got my hands round the blade, but she eluded me. That whore. Whoa! Whoa! Homer! Let's be politically correct, shall we? Okay, I just said that. Well, let's continue. Hey, it's in classic literature. We can say it, apparently. Nor would she close my two eyes as my soul swam to the underworld or shut my lips. There's no being more fell, more bestial than a wife in such an action, and what an action that one played. The murder of her husband and her lord. Great God, I thought my children and my slaves at least would give me welcome. But that woman, plotting a thing so low, defiled herself and all her sex, all women yet to come, even those few who may be virtuous. Imagine you're Odysseus. You hear that Agamemnon's wife has betrayed him, murdered him when he got home. What might Odysseus be thinking about his beloved Penelope when he arrives home? Will she be loyal? That's the question. He paused then, and I answered, "Foul and dreadful! That was the way that Zeus, who views the wide world, vented his hatred on the son of Atreus. Intrigues of women, even from the start. Myriads died by Helen's fault, and Clytemnestra plotted against you half the world away. And he at once said, 'Let it be a warning, even to you. Indulge a woman, never. And never tell her all you know. Some things a man may tell, some he should cover up. Not that I see a risk for you, Odysseus, of death at your wife's hands. She is too wide, too clear-eyed, sees alternatives too well. Penelope, Icarius' daughter, that young bride whom we left behind. Think of it, when we sailed off to war. The baby boy still cradled at her breast. Now he must be a grown man and a lucky one. By heaven, you'll see him yet, and he'll embrace his father with old-fashioned respect, and rightly. My own lady never let me glut my eyes on my own son, but led me to death first. One thing I will advise, on second thought. Stow it away and ponder it. Land your ship in secret on your island. Give no warning. The day of faithful wives is gone forever.'" Wow. But tell me, have you any word at all about my son's life? Gone to Orchomenus or sandy Pylos, can it be? Or waiting with Menelaus in the plain of Sparta? Death on earth has not yet taken Orestes. So he's asking about his son, Orestes, Agamemnon is. But I could only answer, "Son of Atreus, why do you ask these questions of me? Neither news of home have I, nor news of him, alive or dead, and empty words are evil." So we exchanged our speech in bitterness, weighed down by grief, and tears welled in our eyes, when there appeared the spirit of Achilles, son of Peleus, then Patroclus' shade, and then Antilochus, and then Ajax, first among all the Danaans in strength and bodily beauty, next to Prince Achilles. Now that great runner, grandson of Acos, recognized me and called across to me, "Son of Laertes and the gods of old, Odysseus, master mariner and soldier of old knife, what next? What greater feat remains for you to put your mind on after this? How did you find your way down to the dark, where these dim-witted dead are camped forever, the after-images of used-up men?" This is Achilles talking, the war hero. Oh my gosh! If you're a Greek, you're getting to hear the conversation between the amazing hero Achilles and the amazing tactician Odysseus. This is drama, guys, if you're a Greek, all right? May not be to you, but it was to them. I answered, "Achilles, Peleus' son, strongest of all among the Achaeans. I had need of foresight, such as Tiresias alone could give to help me, homeward bound for the crags of Ithaca. I have not yet closed Achaea, but not yet touched my land. My life is all adversity. But was there ever a man more blessed by fortune than you, Achilles? Can there ever be? We ranked you with immortals in your lifetime, we Argives did, and here your power is royal among the dead men's shades. Think then, Achilles, you need not be so pained by death." To this he answered swiftly, "Let me hear no smooth talk of death from you, Odysseus, light of counsels. Better, I say, to break sod as a farmhand for some poor country man on iron rations than lord it over all the exhausted dead." That is quite the statement about the difference between life and death, according to Achilles here. And this may be according to Homer. Better to be a slave farmer and be alive than to lord over all of the dead, said Achilles. Now that's interesting. Tell me, what news of the prince, my son? Did he come after me to make a name in battle, or could it be he did not? Do you know if rank and honor still belong to Peleus in the towns of the Myrmidons? Or now, maybe, Hellas and Phthia spurn him, seeing old age fetters him in hand and foot. I cannot help him under the sun's rays, cannot be the man I was on Troy's wide seaboard in those days when I made bastion for the Argives and put an army's best man in the dust. Were I but whole again, could I go now to my father's house? 1 hour would do to make my passion and my hands no man could hold hateful to any who shoulder him aside. He's asking about his son. His son's name is Neoptolemus. We're about to learn what happened. Now when I paused, I answered, Of all that, of Peleus' life that is, I know nothing. But happily, I can tell you the whole story of Neoptolemus, as you require. In my own ship, I brought him out from Skyros to join the Achaeans under arms. And I can tell you, in every council before Troy thereafter, your son spoke first and always to the point. No one but Nestor and I could outdebate him. And when we formed against the Trojan line, he never hung back in the mass, but ranged far forward of his troops. No man could touch him for gallantry. Aye, scores went down before him in hard fights, man to man. I shall not tell all about each, or name them all, the long roster of enemies he put out of action, taking the shock of charges on the Argives. But what a champion his lance ran through in Eurypylus, the son of Telephos. Cadian in throngs round the captain also died, all because Priam's gifts had won his mother to send the lad to battle. And I thought Memnon alone in splendor ever outshone him. But one fact more, while our picked Argive crew still rode that hollow horse Epeius built, and when the whole thing lay with me to open the trapdoor of the ambuscade or not, at that point our Danaan lords and soldiers wiped their eyes and their knees began to quake, all but Neoptolemus. I never saw his tanned cheek change color or his hand brush one tear away. Rather he prayed me, hand on hilt, to sortie, and he gripped his tough spear, bent on havoc for the Trojans. And when we had pierced and sacked Priam's tall city, he loaded his choice plunder and embarked with no scar on him. Not a spear had grazed him, nor the sword's edge in close work. Common wounds to get one gets in war. Ares, in his mad fits, knows no favorites. In other words, Neoptolemus was the only one besides me who, when we were in the Trojan horse, he did not long with tears of wanting to go home when Helen was talking. He was a brave soldier, is what Odysseus is saying. But I said no more, for he had gone off striding the field of Asphodel. The ghost of our great runner, Achilles, glorying in what I told him of his son. Now other souls of mournful dead stood by, each with his troubled questioning, but one remained alone, apart, the son of Telamon, Ajax it was, the great shade burning still because I had won favor on the beachhead in rivalry over Achilles' arms. Remember I said he'd meet Ajax, the one that he had fought over the armor of Achilles, and Ajax ended up killing himself over it? And this is dramatic here. He sees Ajax. What will Ajax say to Odysseus? Okay. The lady Thetis, mother of Achilles, laid out for us the dead man's battle gear, and Trojan children with Athena named the Dane and fittest to own them. Would God I had not borne the palm that day, for earth took Ajax then to hold forever, the handsomest and, in all feats of war, noblest of the Danaans after Achilles. Gently, therefore, I called across to him. Odysseus tries to talk to him. Ajax, dear son of royal Telamon, you would not then forget, even in death, your fury with me over those accursed calamitous arms? And so they were a bane sent by the gods upon the Argive host. For when you died by your own hand, we lost a tower formidable in war. All we Achaeans mourn you forever, as we do Achilles. And no one bears the blame but Zeus. He fixed that doom for you because he frowned on the whole expedition of our spearmen. My lord, come near, listen to our story. Conquer your indignation and your pride. But he gave no reply and turned away, following other ghosts toward Erebus. Who knows if in that darkness he might still have spoken, and I answered. But my heart longed after this to see the dead elsewhere. And now there came before my eyes Minos, the son of Zeus, enthroned, holding a golden distaff, dealing out justice among ghostly pleaders arrayed about the broad doorways of death. And then I glimpsed Orion, the huge hunter, gripping his club, studded with bronze, unbreakable, with wild beasts he had overpowered in life, on lonely mountainsides, now brought to bay on fields of asphodel. So he's going to see all these different people that the Greeks would know. And I saw Tityos, the son of Gaia, lying, abandoned over 9 square rods of plain. Vultures hunched above him, left and right, rifling his belly, stabbed into the liver, and he could never push them off. This hulk had once committed rape of Zeus's mistress Leto in her glory, when she crossed the open grass of Panopeus toward Pytho. Then I saw Tantalos put to the torture. Tantalos, okay, he tried to trick the gods and have them eat eat his own son. It didn't really work, except maybe for Artemis. So he has this horrible punishment in the underworld. And you're also going to see Sisyphus and his horrible punishment in the underworld. These are famous tortures in the underworld. So here's the first one. This is Tantalos. This is where we get the word tantalize, by the way. It's from his name, Tantalos. Then I saw Tantalos put to the torture. In a cool pond he stood, lapped round by water clear to the chin. And being athirst, he burned to slake his dry weasand with drink, though drink he would not ever again. For when the old man put his lips down to the sheet of water, it vanished round his feet, gulped underground, and black mud baked there in a wind from hell. Boughs, too, drooped low above him with big fruit, pear trees, pomegranates, brilliant apples, luscious figs, and olives, ripe and dark. But if he stretched his hand for one, the wind under the dark sky tossed the bough beyond him. So he's forever hungry and thirsty, with forever fruit and water in front of him, and he can never eat or drink. Ouch. Then Sisyphus, in torment, I beheld, being roused about to a tremendous boulder, leaning with both arms braced and legs driving, he heaved it toward a height, and almost over, but then a power spun him round and sent the cruel boulder bounding again to the plain, whereon the men bent down again to toil, dripping sweat, and the dust rose overhead. So Sisyphus is cursed to forever try to roll a boulder up a hill and forever not get it to the top, and it rolls back down. He's just always working, trying to get this boulder up the hill. He's cursed. Now he's going to see Hercules. Next I saw manifest the power of Hercules, a phantom this, for he himself has gone feasting among the gods, reclining soft with Hebe of the ravishing pale ankles, daughter of Zeus and Hera, shod in gold. But in my vision all the dead round him cried like affrighted birds. Like night itself he loomed with naked bow and nocked arrow, and glances terrible as continual archery. My hackles rose at the gold sword belt he wore sweeping across him, gorgeous intaglio of savage bears, boars, lions with wildfire eyes, sword fights, battle, slaughter, and sudden death. The smith who had that belt in him, I hope, he never made, and never will make another. The eyes of the vast figure rested on me, and of a sudden he said in kindly tones, Son of Laertes and the gods of old, Odysseus, master mariner and soldier under a cloud, you too? Destined to grinding labors like my own in the sunny world? Son of Cronion, Zeus or not, how many days I sweated out being bound in servitude to a man far worse than I, a rough master. He made me hunt this place one time to get the watchdog of the dead. No more perilous task, he thought, could be, but I brought back that beast, up from the underworld. Hermes and grey-eyed Athena showed the way. Oh, Hercules, wow, you went down and got Cerberus out of the underworld. You are amazing. Okay, he's like bragging about himself. Okay, wow, good job, Hercules. And Hercules, down the vistas of the dead, faded from sight. But I stood fast, awaiting other great souls who perished in times past. I should have met then God-begotten Theseus and Pirithous, whom both I longed to see. But first came shades and thousands, rustling in a pandemonium of whispers, blown together, and the horror took me that Persephone had brought from a darker hell some saurian death's head. I whirled then, made for the ship, shouted to crewmen to get aboard and cast off the stern hawsers, an order soon obeyed. They took their thwarts, and the ship went leaping toward the stream of ocean, first under oars, then with a following wind, and he made it out of the underworld. And Mrs. Jackson will now continue with several other islands that Odysseus will visit in his story that he's telling to Alcinous and the Phaeacians. And then we will come to the end of this 4-part series, The Adventure Stories of Odysseus. I hope you're enjoying.